Hey, souls and spirits out there. Welcome back to this sacred space where we discuss the seen and unseen worlds around us. I am so grateful you are here with me today. In this episode, we're going to dive into the topic of energy, spiritual energy to be precise, what it is, how it works, and how we feel it. So, when we talk about energy in the spiritual sense, people might mean our vitality, our life force, presence, vibration, aura, consciousness, kindness, or even the mood or the atmosphere of a space. We've heard things like she's got good energy. I've said that before. Like, man, that girl's got good energy. Or a place has good energy or bad energy. It's become a saying that people often say now, actually. I hear it quite a bit. It's often described as something supernatural. At its core, though, spiritual energy is the underlying frequency of life. The simple explanation is that it's power. It's spiritual power. I think of it like the fuel behind how things work. If our body is the vehicle for our soul and spirit, our physical body, then we need fuel to make it run, right? And that would be spiritual energy. Now, we get bits of that fuel from different places. Obviously, we need food and water and sleep and vitamins and nutrients and stuff to make our physical bodies run. But we can also make sure that we are getting better quality of fuel by, eating healthy, eating things that are sourced organically, things like that, meditating, taking care of ourselves, not just our physical bodies, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well. Different traditions call it by different names: the prana, the chi, the mana, orienda, the ether. The names may vary from tradition to tradition, but the meaning stays pretty consistent. It's the invisible essence that flows through all living things and can create change. It's a power that cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed or changed into something new. You feel it. You feel energy, even when we can't see it around us. It's something that existed before us and will remain long after we're gone. So, have you ever been able to feel that someone is staring at you from across the room, especially if they are just like really staring intently? That's someone's energy being directed at you. I actually used to practice this when I was in college. In those big kind of lecture halls IU had of like over 200 students, I would pick someone and just stare at them. I would try to use my energy to kind of gently tap their shoulder or something. I looked at it as like an exercise almost, especially if it was someone who looked like they weren't really paying attention to the lecture, kind of like I was. I would see how long it would take them to feel me kind of poking them with my energy. Sometimes people were just like immediate. I would watch them kind of, like, set their head up and, like, look around, like, where I am, and then I would, like, kind of stop. Some people, it would take them longer to notice, and it was just kind of interesting to see who I could get to look over at me or not. But have you ever walked into a room and felt like something was in there with you, or maybe something had happened in that room? Maybe you got tingles or goosebumps in up your arm, or the space was too hot or too cold to be really natural. That could be residual energy from something that happened in that space. Or it could be the energy of spirit you're feeling. Maybe you walked in and that room's got a ghost or something. It's all still energy though. That's what we're feeling. Everything is energy. Even the non-living things have it. Think of how, a house feels when you walk into it. Different people's houses feel different, don't they? It's not just the sights and the smells and the items that make them different. It's the actual energy of the house, the feeling of the house, and the energy of the things inside that house that has personal energy on them. So the more time you spend at a place, the more of your personal energy rubs off on it. My husband and I have 3 different houses, and each one of them feels very different. Some of them are quite a bit older than others, or I think about the people who lived there before. There's just kind of a subtle difference between each one of them. In one of my storybook fantasy books that I read, one of them had a witchy woman who made her house sentient because she started talking to it and devoting more of her energy into it. And so, the lights would turn on when she would ask them to and things like that, just in, like, a storybook. But since I read that, I am determined to do that with our houses, especially our White House outside of Camp Chesterfield. It's the oldest out of the 3 that we have, and you can feel a difference in it than the rest. And I don't know if it's because of all the people who lived there before. It was one of the original houses of the people who own the land that Camp Chesterfield sat on, and it's been added to and changed many, many times, but it just feels different, and I'm determined to make that house. I've started kind of out loud telling the house hello and goodbye when we're there, to where even my daughter started saying, "Hi, house," when we walk in the door and she pats the wall. And I can feel that the house appreciates it. That might sound weird, but I can feel it. I can feel that the house is happy that we're there, especially her. It feels happy that there's giggles like going on, or if I bring my dogs and they're kind of running through the house playing, I can feel that it's happy that we're there and spending time in it. And if you think of different sacred spaces across the world, temples, stone circles, pyramids, even like a pilgrimage path, they are places where spiritual energy is concentrated, that we can feel it to this day. So when you think about your house and, the prayers and the rituals and the things that you have done there, think about how many of those things have happened in ancient temples, how many prayers were said there, how many rituals were conducted there. I often think about the temples in Egypt that I have visited. They were so painstakingly created. Every little thing, was perfect, and they had so many ceremonies for thousands of different things that they did, like, and some of those places were so far into the desert that it took us, like, to this day, hours by bus to get to them. And so I can't imagine how long it took, like, actual people to get there walking. But there was this one little temple, to the goddess Hathor out in the desert for the miners that we actually visited, and the energy there was so interesting. And it's interesting when I think about it, it's interesting to think about, the things they would have been praying for and petitioning the goddess out there for all the way out there. No doubt safety for their mining expeditions, maybe blessings for their families that they didn't live by because they were there working. I believe that we can create emotional energy imprints on the places that we have been. So a place where, terrible sadness has occurred could still be felt by someone who doesn't even know the history there, almost like an echo being sent out into the universe. I remember my family had this thing with going to visit, like, battle sites, like, battleground sites, and I remember being young, like 10 years old, and going to see, like, places where battles had happened, and back then not even realizing what was happening. I'm just a little kid, and something happened here, but I didn't really know or understand the history. But I remember getting so emotional about it and just kind of standing there, like, walking around crying, and you can't really see anything, it's just flat hills, but, like, the battle of something happened here, and, just how sad I felt being there even as a little girl. And, places have the memories of the things that happened there, and that is energy. It's because of that energy. It's kind of, condensed there. Energy is often described as the force that connects everything. Our actions have consequences that can ripple outward, not just physically, but energetically. The reason we gather in groups for meditation and prayer, healing, is that we want to kind of collectively put our intention and energy into something because it amplifies it. This is why compassion, happiness, and the opposite of these emotions matter, and paying attention to them matter beyond just a personal level, because nothing happens in isolation. Energy is constantly moving outward and affecting everything around. So when I honor different festivals of the year, I'm attuning myself to the energy of whatever that festival represents. When I honor the full moon at the different full moons each month, I'm attuning myself to the energy of a specific zodiac sign at that time, because they're all different. When our spiritual energy is high, we feel confident, we feel inspired, we feel grateful, we feel in alignment with ourselves. We can have clear intuition, we feel peace. High energy feels expansive and uplifting. And lower spiritual energy is characterized by feelings of, exhaustion, anxiety, restlessness, emotional heaviness, kind of feeling stuck or disconnected, and a constant feeling of being drained after interactions. Now, no, low spiritual energy is not bad in general. It's just a signal from our spiritual selves letting us know that something needs our attention, healing or release or some kind. Blocked energy often shows up emotionally before it manifests physically in our lives. It shows up as, repeating patterns over and over again, overthinking things, feeling off without really knowing why, or when we kind of become self sabotaging. Now, if you are somewhere where you can take a second, I would like you to close your eyes. If you're driving or doing something where you could hurt yourself if you take a second, I want you to wait until later, obviously, maybe before bed or something. I want you to close your eyes and just breathe gently for a second. I want you to focus on your heartbeat. Just kind of notice it. Notice the feeling of it beating in your chest. Keep breathing. And then when you can, I want you to let all of your breath out and then count to 4 without breathing it back in. You can do this as many times as you want, but in those 4 counts without breathing, I want you to just focus on your body. Can you feel your body swaying just a bit? Just really gently, barely noticeable. Maybe it's from side to side or front to back, but it's just a gentle movement that even though you're sitting still, you're slightly moving. That's our energy. That's our vibration. We are literally vibrating in our bodies, if you will. And the law of vibration from natural law tells us that nothing ever rests. Everything in the universe, even thoughts, are in constant motion and they vibrate and they have distinct frequencies. We each have a distinct frequency, a distinct vibration. And so when we focus in on it and we feel that movement, I feel like truly that is our energy that is moving within us. And so we are constantly, even if we are sitting still, even if we are at rest, we are still in motion. Our energy is still in motion. And we can change our vibration by altering our environment, our emotions, and our thoughts. One of the quickest ways to shift our energy is breath work. And it depends, of course, on what you want to do, with your energy. But, if you want to calm down, something's really upsetting you and you need to calm down. A good breathing exercise is to breathe in for 4 counts through your nose, hold it for 7 counts, and then exhale slowly for 8 counts out your mouth. And then repeat that a few times. 4 through your nose, 7 holding it, and then exhale slowly for 8 counts. A good one for focus is to breathe in for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, then hold it again for 4 counts before starting over. I like to do this one a lot during meditations because I am a very bad meditator and it's very hard for me to kind of focus and empty out, all the 10,000 things in your mind. So when I do this one, I like to imagine a square in my brain and it's like I'm tracing that square, I'm inhaling for 4 counts. So that's one side of the square. Exhale, or I'm holding it for 4 counts. That's 4 more seconds on the square. I'm exhaling for 4 more seconds. And then I'm holding it again. Over and over again, I do this, and it's to help you focus. A good breathwork practice can help decrease our heart rate. It can help lower blood pressure, and it can help with muscle tension and inflammation. I mean, what's not good about it? Also, starting a gratitude practice can instantly raise our vibration. Our thoughts are among the strongest factors in what our vibration is at. So when we have a daily practice of living from a place in gratitude, from having positive thoughts, our energy naturally shifts. Now, no one can live at a state of just like positive thoughts all the time, like living in this day and age and having muggle jobs and real world problems. Like, we're going to have negative things impact us. But when that happens, if we can just kind of take a moment, maybe take a breath, and then just try to shift our thoughts, shift our narrative just a bit, that can help us keep our vibration high. Joy is also considered one of the highest energy frequencies. Other things like, essential oils, crystals, sounds can also help raise your vibration. Trust your intuition and spirit on what feels right for you, what you should add into your spiritual practice to kind of help uplift you. And the more you listen to spirit and your intuition, the more you are in alignment with, the higher vibrations of energy and the higher vibrations of life. So, thank you for joining me today. I hope you get something good out of this. I'll see you soon.